We service a wide range of clients, and we recognize that CQG does as well. CQG's team is recognized as subject matter experts across futures execution space, and that's a very valued component of this relationship moving forward. I think ultimately it comes down to that shared kind of culture across the organization of being really client-centric and focused. And those clients can be anywhere along the spectrum, from a CCP to an exchange, to a retail broker, to an institutional FCM, to a corporate hedger. You don't want to get in a spot where you're building something that you think they need. You need to hear what they need and then help them deliver that.
Both Broadridge and CQG are technology companies. Most of our customers are not. If you look at what's going on in the technology world now around artificial intelligence, around tokenization and all those things, there's a lot of uncertainty that's actually getting pushed towards these firms. And I feel like there's an opportunity, if we can partner with them well, listen well, maybe understand some of the challenges they're really facing as technology firms, we could try to solve that for them so that they can focus on their business and we can kind of just focus on ours.
Why did CQG switch to an employee-owned company and then combine with Broadridge?
Really what we were trying to do is take a couple of key inputs, which was what is best for our employees, what is best for our customers, and then looked at all that was going on in the world and tried to figure out what's best. And we decided that being an employee-owned company was the right thing. I think with all the changes that happened in the world, the outcome of that actually was a little bit different. And we felt like combining with Broadridge was ultimately the best thing for those people groups. I think people did expect that no matter what happened, we would do what was best for those two main groups, our customers and our employees. So I actually feel like this is maybe a continuation of the conversation Tim and I had now 6 years ago about where to take the company. I think this is kind of the final resting place of that conversation.
What employee-owned cultural and governance models do you want to keep?
We're a Midwestern values company. We've always tried to be a company that tells the truth. We're honest with ourselves. We're honest with our customers. I think it's a really important thing for us to carry forward. The early conversations that we had with Broadridge were really heavily around client-centric focus for us. And so I think when I look at what do I really, really want to translate into the new combined organization, I think what I'm most excited about is the fact that we did share that kind of common connection in terms of the value of the clients, where does your bond, like all those things that maybe have given CQG the reputation it has. I feel really confident that that stuff closely aligns with the way that Broadridge sees the world. By coming together, if anything, maybe accentuate our ability to really focus on our clients.
How will the CQG ecosystem evolve inside of Broadridge?
I felt like CQG plays a really unique role within the futures and options space as the central hub that could bring a lot of the market participants together. That is where the Broadridge conversation started. It actually started with how do we work better together as part of this ecosystem so that our joint customers have a unified experience. You do have people that are buying CQG solutions and they're buying Broadridge solutions. We felt like we were putting too much of the burden on them to stitch this stuff together. It's the combined firms which maybe a slightly bigger ecosystem, more end-to-end ecosystem, but I think the vision actually stays the same.
How do you plan on integrating CQG's platform without diluting the functionality users rely on?
We view CQG and what it offers very complementary to our existing core suite of product sets. And it's very important for us, as Ryan mentioned, from a perspective of really solidifying and really understanding that client experience is one of the core driving principles of our business. So we'll look to integrate the features and functions in a way that we think it's an extension of our core strategy to deliver an acceleration of our core strategy to deliver that end-to-end trading system. But we recognize the value and the importance of delivering it in a way that maintains the functionality and the performance that clients are used to.
Will there be a dedicated team continuing CQG's roadmap, or will it be less of a priority to Broadridge's goals?
When you look at it from an organizational perspective, there are a lot of similarities, as you might expect, in the way the organization is structured, from a product team to engineering, infrastructure and SRE teams, client service, delivery teams. And within Broadridge, we have that from an organizational perspective, we can manage that. But it's important within that to make sure that as you go down those verticals or maybe into a product, that you maintain that focus on what those clients need and the subject matter expertise of the teams that are supporting that business. And I think that's critically important as we roll this out. It really comes down to not ever stopping to listen to your clients, right? That is ultimately what both organizations are about, which is servicing our clients. So the organizational construct can be there and it's very similar, but ultimately it's listening to the clients to make sure that what we're delivering is what they need.
What is your plan for integrating technology?
One of the things that's really important to recognize that we recognize is that this is an extremely well-run company at CQG, right? And Broadridge as well. So there is no, from an integration perspective of functionality, we don't have to rush. This is not something that we see that we need to change something dramatically. And we recognize the critical components of the infrastructure and the critical components of capital markets trading that our systems facilitate. So we will absolutely be mindful that that is our first and foremost objective, is to ensure that stability, performance, and client experience continues on. And that is our number one integration point, is to make sure that that does not break.
One of the things we talked about is we can do this in a very orderly way. You've got a lot of things that Broadridge does and does really well. It can continue to invest in those paths, and things that CQG does and does really well and invest in those paths. And I think we can be very thoughtful in both the ways and the pace that we bring these things together, so it's not disruptive. Day one, both companies continue to operate at their high level. And then we just be really intentional of finding ways to make more value as we go forward.
Are there any key employees you will lose?
Mutual expectations, everybody in CQG is going to go over. I've spent a very significant amount of my time the last number of months thinking about how to make sure everybody ends up in a really good situation. It's the most important thing to me. Again, it was about the clients, but also the employees, and making sure I felt like they had a really good home, and not just a job, but an opportunity and a chance to work on the sort of things that I think will shape the future. And I think Broadridge has the conviction and the vision to shape the future of our industry. At a very personal level, I wanted CQG people to be a part of that.
How do you expect this combined platform to change the competitive landscape?
Our industry has actually benefited from competition. It pushes us forward, forces people to innovate. And when competition goes away, everything kind of becomes stagnant. There are clients that want to buy kind of individual, kind of best-in-class things for different workflows. And I think you have to preserve now, because that's what they want. I think there was also clients that are going to want some sort of maybe end-to-end solution. And I think the idea is we can also now begin to offer that.
What we want to build is not a monolithic type platform. In fact, we want to be modular in our design, so that ultimately clients can determine what is best in class for them, right? So we service a wide variety of clients, exchanges across the two organizations, and the needs and the wants of those clients are different in some cases. So it's critically important that we maintain a modular design, and that means oftentimes working with other providers in the space, because there may be somebody that has a better function that needs to be integrated into our system.